Back here, first things first, we're going viral. Here's our first look at the revamped Lakers lineup, with LeBron James finally getting to practice with Los Angeles' remade roster. Nick, high expectations for LeBron and the Lakers this season?
Yeah, my expectations haven't changed since the moment they acquired him. I think the Lakers' ceiling is wherever they play Golden State in the playoffs, and that, by the way, for me, mirrors everyone's ceiling this year, wherever they play Golden State in the playoffs. I'm very interested to see LeBron on this type of team, a team that theoretically would want to play fast, a team that doesn't have an abundance of shooting, but does have an abundance of youth and athleticism. It's very different than any team we've seen the latter stage in his career LeBron James play with. So it's one of the more intriguing things to watch all season long.
Anytime LeBron's playing basketball, it's going to be exciting. Not only the Lakers a new look, but you can also see around the NBA. They're starting to go back to the Isaiah Thomas shorts. The short shorts. Around mid-thigh, not the long hanging, the Jalen Roses no more.
I mean, if people, right there, LeBron has, I don't know if you can see it on TV, compression shorts that go far lower than his actual basketball shorts do. JaVale as well, he's wearing tights. And
what does JaVale McGee have around his beard?
I have no idea. I was trying to, it seems some string thing. It almost looks like a hairnet you would see at a...
Like a lunch line?
Yeah, also, this might be after practice, you can see the way the ball boys are situated, that might be after he's got a set of headphones on.
Ah, okay. Leave it to see. We thought it was a hairnet.
Well, it didn't look to me like...
I can't believe you thought it was a hairnet, Nick.
Can't believe
you said hairnet. Time for some stories to start your morning, brought to you by the unexpected energy of ExxonMobil. The 76ers named Elton Brand their general manager yesterday. Brand had spent the last 2 years working in the Philly front office. See what do you make of the move?
I like the move. I think this is one of the most talented teams in sports. If there was a general manager, baseball, basketball, or football, this would be one of the teams that say, you can pick any team. Who would you like to have? Man, you got two superstars. It's a great sports town, and the coach, I believe, is going to be a winner there and is a really bright guy. So I like Elton Brand going there. Limited experience as the D-League general manager, but remember last year, Chauncey Billups had several offers with no experience. So this is the trend NBA owners are going with.
It's a win for Brett Brown as well, that one of his guys becomes the GM as opposed to a GM that might want their own coach. But you made a point before the show I think is interesting. The NBA sure does a better job than other leagues at respecting the ability of its former players to run teams and to have high-level jobs, that we do not see this type of front office makeup in Major League Baseball or in the NFL.
Yeah, they have more respect for their athletic IQ and for their ability to put a championship caliber team out there on the court, compared to football has the old school mentality of you got to go to grade school. Oh, so I played 16 years in the league. That ain't nothing.
Right.
Oh, so you've been coaching in high school. That's more qualified you than no.
The NBA, there's anybody you can. The path to becoming a GM, you can go from Wall Street. You can go from MIT like Daryl Morey did. You can go almost straight from the court.
I don't know if he
2015, with Tyrod Taylor looking to bounce back after a rough start to the season. See, is there any thought of moving to Baker Mayfield if Tyrod Taylor doesn't get it going soon?
I don't think people, for the most part, if you watch Cleveland play, and people they're more consumed with the results, that they tied Pittsburgh. They had New Orleans beat, lost that game late. But what they're doing offensively is totally different than what Todd Haley is used to. They are holding the reins with Tyrod Taylor in this wide receiver. Either they don't think that he has or they have confidence in him to throw the ball down the field, because they throw the ball short. And I watched the game and it was like they had a rookie quarterback. So for me, Tyrod's got like another week before they try to open it up and allow Baker to be able to throw the ball, because this is a much improved Browns team. Their defense is much improved, but you can't improve offensively if you don't try to attack the defense down the field. And in watching their games, Todd Haley, to me, is coaching as if he's not trying to lose the game with Tyrod, compared to if they had Baker in there. His overall arm strength, his ability to distribute the ball down the field, I think would change Cleveland. So I wouldn't be surprised at all in the next couple of weeks if they went to Baker.
And they have the benefit of after Thursday, they have if you're going to go to Baker, doing it after a Thursday game when you have 10 days until your next game, that seems like a decent time to do it. I think there's
also more days for the defense to prepare. So people always bring up that argument. Well, the time. Well, we got a bye week. That's the time you should change. Well, you also help out the opposition if you do that, because they also have that same amount of time to pull up all 4 of those preseason games. So I think it's a moot point. Well, either way, when you bring them in, you can bring them in on 7 days just because you have more. That's also more time to confusing.
For sure, more time, and I get that, but you also wouldn't have to announce. You could put in a situation where Oakland would have to prepare for both guys, theoretically. You wouldn't have to announce we're going to Baker until the day leading up to the game, theoretically, or they'd probably leak the days leading up, but they wouldn't necessarily know the day after Thursday Night Football. But I think they're going to win on Thursday. So I think that will make it a moot point. They're not going to switch quarterbacks if they get their first win, as you were mentioning, in 20 football games. But if people weren't watching the Steelers and they're just watching the result, here's what they need to know. Like, week 1, Tyrod was bad. The reason they were in position to tie that football game was because that defense was excellent. Big Ben had 5 turnovers in that game. The Steelers as a whole had 6 turnovers. Week 2, Tyrod actually played well, but they had a lead late against New Orleans. The one thing he does at an elite level as a quarterback in his history is not turn the ball over. He threw a brutal interception late in that game against New Orleans that allowed the Saints to get back in the game to eventually take the lead. Now, we remember the highlight, the 4th and 5, the 40-plus yard pass to Antonio Callaway that could have been the game-winning touchdown. But we talked in the preseason about Tyrod not leaving the door open, that they kept saying he was going to be the quarterback, but he was confirming that with his play on the field. The first 2 weeks, he has not confirmed it with his play on the field. The first 2 weeks, he has left the door open for Baker Mayfield. Now, if they had better kicking situation, they're 2-0, we're not having the discussion. But they still haven't won. And if they lose on Thursday Night Football to a Jets team that they're favored to beat, that discussion will be in full throat starting Friday.
Even though the general manager made a point of saying Tyrod Taylor is his guy for this season.
Yeah, but at least for me, I believed that Tyrod was always going to start week 1. I never believed the idea that they were dead set that Tyrod was going to be the starter all 16 games of the
People in the NFL, when they get more information, Nick, what do? They
can change their opinion. And Tyrod hadn't played well. I thought Tyrod got a raw deal in Buffalo, but he has not played well through 2 games of this regular season.
All right, moving on to the Dallas Cowboys. The offense has struggled this season. How would you define struggle? Well, they ranked 3rd to last in yards and tied for 3rd to last in points. That ain't great, Nick. Oh. But the defense has been strong with veterans like Sean Lee and linebacker Jalen Smith, who had 10 tackles on Sunday. Jerry Jones says through 2 games, the defense has been the thing that has impressed him most. Didn't have much to choose from there, Jerry. CC, do the Cowboys have the pieces in place to have an elite defense this year?
Yeah, people just have to change their optics. I know we like Dallas. We like them to score. We like them to be an offensive team. But for them to compete, their defense, if they're going to win 10 games, if they're going to be in the playoffs, it's because of their defense. Nick, we saw early in the preseason, most of their assets, most of their talent is on that defense as a unit. Now we say, oh, what about those offensive linemen? Well, they lost a key part when they lost Travis Frederick. That center, he's the quarterback of the team. And if you look at Travis Frederick, if you look at Zach Martin and their inability to be either healthy or dominant, man, they got some talented players on their defense. They make Dak. We talk about Zeke and them. It gets ratings. It's on the show. But we should be talking about Dallas's defense. They could be a top 5 defense. They have the talent. Jalen Smith emerging as their best defender compared to Sean Lee, in case Sean Lee gets hurt, because all the Dallas people, as soon as Sean Lee gets hurt, oh, our season went down, our quarterback, now they got Jalen there. He is the long-term star of the defense. They've gotten good coverage down the field from their young secondary. So, Jerry, it's not sexy to talk about the defense. But if he's going to get his team back in the playoffs, it's going to be all about the defense.
And by the way, even when they were winning Super Bowls, that